Good evening. This is Barbara, the East Coast Dragon Lady. I'm coming to you Dragon Hour, and thank you for, Cheryl. I wondered who the iPad was. It's Cheryl. Thank you, Cheryl. You're the mystery person. So today, Dina has come to chat with us about all things dragon, but a lot of other things. So let me tell you a little bit about Dina. That I have here that some of you may have read. So, and I think she gave me just a snippet, I think, when you said, this is what you did. So Soli Dina is a spiritual mentor, light language, light body practitioner, and activator who offers Akashic record and dragon light language activation, is co-host to the Sophia Golden Dragon Circle, and is an upcoming author. Woohoo! I can talk about that as well. So, and I do know what you didn't add, and I put a note to talk about it, is you're also a Dragon Reiki Master Teacher, which you, as you said the other day, you forget about sometimes. So that's what I said. So next year you need to do that. That's what I've been told. So I am going. So as we were, those of you that joined us, we know that we can easily get Dina and I say that we'll have a quick chat. And that can be, we can lose a couple of hours because we go down different. But so Dina and I met after Dragon Thunder. So I think that, so as a lot of you know, that I decided, or the dragons told me before Dragon Thunder, that when it was over, that I needed to do something because people were going to be looking to make connections after Dragon Thunder. And Dina was one of a handful of people that connected with me after Dragon Thunder, all on the East Coast. So there were people like, you're on the East Coast? That's awesome. Let's all. And then I found out that several people that I connected with also knew Dina. So that's how we got to know each other. And, you know, like a lot of people since COVID, we've met over the internet, but we are planning on meeting in person. If not, it's certainly in the new year. So I know that Dina probably has a lot of things that she wants to talk about. So I'm going to hand it over to you, but I do have, so I thought we would talk about dragons. I know you want to talk about your art and light language and how and maybe you can show us some light language. And then towards the end, we'll talk about our offer that we have put together. So I will hand it over to you. If you're not muted, could you mute yourselves just in case, because you never know. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Where do we start? Should I start with how I wound up connecting with the dragons? Or do you want to ask me a question, Barbara? I'm so grateful to be here, really, and grateful that all of you took time out of your evening or daytime, whatever time it is for you, to be here with us. It really means a lot to me. And this dragon journey has been quite a journey of finding out who my people are and who my people are not. And so I'll just share that because I can go off on different avenues. I've been creating art for a long time, and I actually painted a dragon painting of a claw 20 years ago, and I didn't know it. And about 4 years ago, I was really unhappy, and really unhappy with a lot of things in my life, and started to go back to painting as a way of healing, and set an intention of creating art with the intention of healing, and with the intention eventually to teach others how to work with art as a way of healing. And then the dragons came in. I started to paint, I started to draw all these codes, and started to win all these healings, and started to have all these wild synchronicities, which eventually brought me to a woman who did this healing modality on me, and her name was Annie, and she was connecting with dragons, but she didn't tell me. And she did this healing modality on me called reconnection, reconnective healing. And that day that I got the second healing, there was two parts. And she was reconnecting my meridians with the ley lines of the earth and my higher self. And that day I went up time jumping and connecting and hearing for the first time Kaya Ra talk about the Sophia Dragon Code book that she had authored. And I never heard of Sophia or dragons. I was so like not even knowing, really thinking about dragons. And all of a sudden I was hearing this woman talk about these dragons and all of a sudden everything started to shift, and it turned out that audio call that I was listening to on the way to Annie was actually not going to be live until the next day, but I got to hear it live that day. So it was really like a weird thing that happened. And then I quit smoking. I was finally able to quit smoking because my connection with Mother Earth, I was like, how can I? And I say this with like, I struggled with quitting smoking for 20 years and I could not quit. Like I was so addicted to connection that smoking being came away from me to connect with other people. And like, oh, we have that in common. And then all of a sudden, because of that healing, I was like, I can no longer smoke because now that I'm connected with Mother Gaia in this way, I cannot be a part of something that would add more toxins into the planet or harm anyone or myself anymore. And then a couple weeks later, I saw a dragon in the sky. It was huge. And it was on my way to work, and it was a miracle that I didn't have an accident because I was so transfixed on this dragon that I was just like, "Oh my gosh, there's a dragon. There's a dragon. That's a dragon." And so I got to work, and then I was so like blown away by seeing this cloud shaped in a dragon that I wound up going right after work to this place where I would get Reiki. And he had this right when I walked in was Diana Cooper's Dragon Oracle deck. And I bought it. And the rest was like, and then from there on, it was like, okay, now I'm going to channel dragons. And my husband, I would pull cards for my husband, and he would be like, and I would read the book. It was so funny because I would read the book, and because that's what you do, right? You read the book, and when you're, and my husband goes, Dina, you can channel. Why don't you just start channeling what the messages are? And then my husband started to see, and I started to, and he was like, whoa, that's spot on. Anyway, do you have any questions? Because I could just ramble on. You're muted.
So where did the Dragon Empowerment Reiki come in that? Because
Oh yeah, great, thank you. So what happened is that shortly after that, I was in a group and I asked a friend from this group, does she have any friends that channel dragons? My friend Nicole was like, yes. And on this one evening, she created a Facebook group message to introduce me to Brandy. And Brandy, at the time was teaching all these different dragon Reiki courses. And she started to channel dragons for me and was delivering all these messages. And she was doing all these monthly calls, which is how I met Ryan. And so I signed up. I saw the the Celtic Dragon Reiki course with the empowerment and Reiki and the Sakin class, and I signed up and I took my first ever Dragon Reiki course, and it was like level 1 and 2. No, well, level 1, 2, and 3 was like all in one day. And then when she offered it online, several months later with the master class, I decided to do it. And I did it, and I did it online, and that's how, and then I connected more with Ryan. And it was funny because I thought that I was going to start teaching Reiki right away, and I did not. I got the message that I was going to work in the art and combine it with art, and yeah, so that's when it came in, and I've just been processing a lot of information and getting ready to get into that teacher
Right.
mindset that I really am a teacher.
Right. I mean, that's it. So I had so I've taken several modalities of Reiki, but every one I didn't feel the need to be a Dragon Reiki master. I mean, to be a Reiki master until I took Dragon Reiki, and they're like poking me, going, "You need to do all of it, and you're going to teach, and you're going to do that." And so this is the first time I felt, and it's a different energy to, because people have asked me, "What's the difference?" And it's just different. It's like Holy Fire Reiki, which I recently took as well. It's more sort of sharing that energy and like getting in and actually bringing that to yourself as well, because there's a lot of doing the work with the dragons on yourself. So I love it. It's a really nice, very high frequency. So yeah, and I've also had similar experience to you. I saw my first dragons in the sky, and but they were doing somersaults. I mean, there was like 6 of them, and I was like, why can't anybody else see these? Because they were flying around me, and I was like, why am I seeing dragons? I mean, I had not one thing about dragons until they decided that I was going to find them. So, and I hear a lot of other people tell very similar stories. So, what I found interesting was the couple of guys like Ryan and a couple other guys that went and did Dragon Reiki, and that was their first encounter with dragons. So,
Yeah, and you know what? Because of JD, who had that store that I was going to him for Reiki, I was thinking that I was going to go down the Reiki path, but I kept being like, yeah, eventually, yeah, I want to do it. Yeah, but when Dragon Reiki, it was like an automatic yes. And I also was starting to do, I was already starting to do light language. I was starting, light language was coming in already. So it was like, okay, well, let me have this Dragon Reiki attunement and see what happens and see how I can really work with the dragons and with, something that was more concrete, way of channeling energy and learning more about the dragons and what I was meant to do with them. And so there was this combining of the light language and the Reiki that really intrigued me. And I eventually also did the Holy Fire Reiki as well, because I felt that was more like connecting with source,
yeah,
and then
yes,
all the dragons showed up when I got my Holy Fire Reiki is different. They don't call it attunement, they call it something else.
yeah,
But the dragons showed up during that too. So
right,
yeah, so it's just really interesting. And because of the art, I'm like, well, I'm not going to do it straight up
right.
like anyone else. How am I going to do it because I'm also an artist? So it's interesting the journey that we all take. It's
Good.
bringing in what we are.
Yeah. So talk a little bit more about your art and light language, because light language people are still like going, "What is that? What is it?" So I've had lots of people ask me about light language.
Well, I feel like light language to me is a way of communicating frequency of the heart, and being able to draw in and speak in a heart-centered way, and also communicate healing. It's like a form of sound healing. It's a form of, I feel, transmitting a frequency beyond the mind. And it's very multidimensional, very galactic sometimes, where you can basically, and there's so many different definitions of it, and I had it memorized at one point. And it's so different because in one way you can bring in a communication from your soul, and I call that soul language, where you're communicating from an ancient part of you that maybe, and I feel like Jay has a really good explanation of light language, and you can look it up, and but the way I express it is that it's a form of communicating beyond the mind, and from a place that is very quantum. So it's sometimes from a different part of you, another lifetime, another energy. There's a light language, there's a way to bring in energy from angels or dragons, and it's beyond the mind. It's like even my mind can't describe it sometimes because it's so multidimensional. And I can bring it into my art, and a lot of people bring it through in their art. It's like, I feel like it's a way of communicating that is transmitting beyond time, space, reality. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right.
If anybody has any questions on that,
Yeah.
but
And if anyone has another, definition, I know that I was looking up Jamie Price's definition. It's really beautiful. And I have this book. And for me, it's a way of transmitting sound healing, or transmitting healing, or communicating soul to soul, and bringing through clearings, releasing, deprogramming. And it's like a form of technology through light. And
mhm,
then it comes through a sound. I think that helps.
yeah.
Does
And
that make sense?
yeah, and I think, as you said, it's often in paintings. So after I took one of your, I attended one of your classes, I don't remember what it was. And after that class, I started to get downloads. And so even though I don't speak the light language like you do, as I've started to do channeled painting, I get keys and codes. Um, so I think it's, as you said, it's a different, people experience it in different ways. I also get, whenever I'm grounding myself, I often move my hands in various ways, and that's like the codes as well. But I haven't vocalized it. I know you said you can attune, so you often attune people to
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
And aren't you co-founder or founder of a group of light language, right?
Yes.
I know I
Um,
read that somewhere.
Well, it's the divine. I co-founded the Divine Feminine Sacred Circle. It's a mystery school, and it's a subscription-based membership, and we have ceremonies in there. We provide trainings. We provide uh, a safe space for connecting, to learn about how to hold space and how to elevate our consciousness. And it's a beautiful group, and it just started, and it's in grassroots. And oh, and I don't know what just happened. Oh, I gotta and yeah, so I co-founded that, and I also co-founded they're bringing the dragons home as well.
Right.
That came about over a year ago. I got a message in a channeled reading that it was time to start going into ceremony and to start leading ceremony, and yeah, bringing the dragons home. And so my dear friend Sarah traveled all the way from Michigan to Buffalo, New York. She drove like 8 hours to meet me in Buffalo, and we had a ceremony, a sacred ceremony at the Eternal Flame in Buffalo. And
Mm.
that was the beginning of my ceremonial life. And we did this beautiful ribbon ceremony, and then we started it. And so every month we gather those who feel called, and we do a ceremony around dragons, bringing in the dragons and dragon energy in. And many people wind up getting connected with their dragons in different ways for the first time, or a new dragon, and or they're just finding that connection between other people who connect with dragons, because some people feel really alone in that dragon journey. And
Mm.
I did in the beginning. I was like, who do I tell that I'm connecting with dragons?
Right. Well,
Do you think I'm
as a
crazy?
lot of people say, when you channel, even like admitting that you channel, and then you're like, yeah, but I channel dragons. They're like, what?
Yeah, yeah. So I like to bring people together, and in the different ways that I feel like, I was always kind of like an underdog or an outsider or like a black sheep. Yeah, Divine Feminine Circle, Sacred Circle. It's called Divine Feminine Sacred Circle. And we're going to be reopening the school for another we only open it every quarter, every 3 months. So we're opening it again for another group to come in and join us. And we hold ceremony every month. And there's a oh my gosh, I'm having a moment. Oh my God. I'll share the link. It's so funny because when it comes to sharing about the things that I'm working on, I'm very passionate about it. And at the same time, I get I
Get
get
emotional.
tongue-tied. It's like I get like all of a sudden I can't talk about it. What is that thing where you go online and it's a membership and
Subscription.
many people have it?
Subscription.
Yeah, it's like a subscription.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't,
Patreon.
yes, Patreon.
Oh,
Thank God.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I couldn't think of it.
What
Well,
is it?
it's that thing. Sometimes like English words just escape me.
Mhm.
So we have a Patreon for it, a Facebook group for it, and there's a Facebook group for it to learn all about it before you actually join the paid version. So there's like a
Mhm.
separate Facebook group for the ones that
Mhm.
actually join the membership, and it ranges in price. So the top of the line membership right now that's going to be open is only $22, 22,
Oh,
22.
wow. That's, I think, when people often talk about subscription, sometimes it's hundreds of dollars. And, people are like, well, I'd like to, but I don't know if I want to commit. But then you don't, yeah. I mean, we've talked about this, like advertising yourself, pricing yourself. It's got to be where you're comfortable as well.
Yeah, and even like the art, pricing the art, I create
Mhm.
sacred art. So it's like it's so challenging to price the art because there's no way for me to put a number on the value of it. It's so subjective,
Mhm.
even if it wasn't sacred art, it's still subjective because it's art,
Right.
so, pricing spiritual offerings it's like I like to be accessible while not undervaluing myself.
Right. Yeah, that's true. So
Yeah.
wait, when did you start doing the art with dragons or the channeled art with dragons?
That started in 2019.
Oh, right.
So when I started getting channeling with Brandy, she delivered a message for me from the dragons that they wanted me to start painting with them more. And they did this initiation process with me where I painted this giant painting. And I started really more feeling their energy. And like I feel like they were like right after that message, they invited me to really more intentionally paint with them. And then from that really large painting, uh which was like my initiation painting, everything really just started to flow in. And so that was in 2019. I don't remember when now. Like month, I can't give you a month.
But it was, yeah, probably the COVID. That,
Yeah, it was after February. It was February that it was in February that I saw the one in the sky. And then it would be I feel like in the spring, a couple months later, like in it would be nice. I wish that I journaled it more, but I think it was in the summer when it was warmer that I started to really more channel them. Because I think I was still processing like what is going on.
right. And what is this? Yeah, that's true. And that came with the light language as well.
Yep. And I was getting coaching from a woman in Australia. And so between her speaking Palladian light language and me suddenly finding myself at a couple of events where they spoke light language, between all of them, I wound up getting activated. And I went to like an IET, an energy, integrative energy therapy session. And when I came home, and I put on a meditation from this woman, Solara Anra, who channels Pleiadians. Um, all of a sudden, I'm like doing this thing
Mhm,
with my hands. And it was like, whoa, what is this? And so I really did start out with the hands,
mhm,
with the body movements. And then it went in to the drawing and the codes. And this is like an example. I
right,
just did this the other day. And this is about this is a code for divine communication.
right.
And what was the question? Thank
No,
you all
just
for saying
the
me.
yeah, you're painting with the light language coming in, and then and you do so you use it as a healing modality as well.
Yes, yeah. So there's an intention. Um, I don't always know like what the meaning is right away. Sometimes I gotta feel, I just allow, I tune in, I get the inspiration and I go paint. And then as I'm painting, I find out what the painting is for. And sometimes I'm like, okay, we're gonna do a painting for like this one. Okay, this is divine. This is about divine an activation for divine communication. And so a lot of it is watercolor, but I also have a lot in oil. And sometimes you can't even see that it's codes because the codes are hidden. It's not obvious. It's more like embedded because I sing while I'm painting. And
Mhm,
so I'm singing the frequencies and the frequencies are in the painting. It's like the painting soaks up the codes. So
mhm,
it's not obvious all the
right.
time.
Yeah, it's
And I
cool.
dance. It's like a full experience. I'm gonna start. And the dragon said they wanted me to do videos of me painting and dancing and singing so people can get the full experience of the art. And I was doing it and I don't know what happened, but I stopped. And so now I'm recently getting reminded that it's time for me to start doing that again.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, don't
Well,
you
well,
remember?
the other thing that you're spreading your paintings is like, because I've just bought some, is that you put your paintings on coffee mugs on and on some other things. So talk about that.
So I had someone that was like, "Oh, do you sell prints?" And I wanted to find a way to make it really easy for people to buy prints from me. And so I did some research and I found out about Fine Art America. And
Thank
I
you.
have about 7 or 8 paintings that are available that can be printed on coffee mugs, um, like so many different objects, like, oh my gosh, it's sketchbooks, it's mouse pads, it's so many different things. So that you can have the items in your life without having it limited to a canvas on a wall. So, shower curtain,
Mm,
uh, a bedspread, a duvet. So you can literally sleep with the codes. And
mm,
I have another which I've not really shared much, but because I want to upgrade, I want to change up some of it. But I have clothing. You can actually buy clothing with
mm.
the artwork that has codes in it. So, it's just been a matter of me really sharing it. Because I wanted because I really feel there's a big value in versatility. You know, not everybody wants to have the art on the wall. Some people might want to have it like on their phone so that the codes are on their phone, like
Mhm,
or a towel. I have a yoga mat. So
mhm,
there's the art is available on demand. So like so if you look at the 7 paintings, you can scroll down on the website and see that they're available as in all these different forms, including a yoga mat. And that way you can have the codes right there with you when you're meditating. So
mm.
and then you feel it. And it's really wild that because it's so quantum that they can be used in these different ways.
Yeah,
Is that exciting?
yeah. I think you're going to need a catalog before long. Then be that this is how you can buy my art.
Yeah, I know. I need some help with that, and I bet there's someone here. I feel like there's someone here that can help me with that. I think that's Tammy. Um, oh, Tammy, been on my mind. It's just a matter of me like pulling the trigger. Um, and yeah, because there's another thing. Because I'm finding, I want to make sure the art is available in different forms that are beneficial. And like for water and what I was just looking at them. Oh, Tammy, give me a heart. It's so funny. Um, yeah, because clothing, why not wear art? I love the concept of wearable art and what function where things are beautiful and useful.
Mhm.
Yeah, beautiful and
Yeah,
useful. That means a lot, to and sustainable.
yeah,
Sustainable. I really want to get into sustainable products, like where the art can be printed on sustainable, like bamboo clothing, or very earth friendly. I really, really want to, like, that's very important to me to honor the earth and not be adding anything that's not beneficial.
right. Yeah, yeah. So you've been very quiet about this, but I know that you're a soon to be published author, right? And if you're like me, it drag out for a whole year. So I, as some of you probably know, because I've been blasting about, I just got published in a anthology book, which actually made it to #1, which I'm sure, like you always hear people say
It
they've made
did, yay!
Amazon's, yeah, bestseller, and
Yay!
in three countries, England, um, here, and Canada.
Oh my God, congratulations. So yeah, so okay. Through divine synchronicity, I met a woman named Rochelle, and we're working on a book with my art that'll be in her channel messages, and and Lily, another soul sister who is how I met Jay, Lily Lee. We have a book that's coming out next year, and Misty Lee of Campground Publishing TBD, she does a lot of anthology books.
Mhm.
And I know, and so she's writing the forward on the book that I'm doing with Rochelle and Lily. And when I noticed that she was looking for authors to write in the book called My Two Cents on Self-Love, I was like, okay, I want to talk about that. So I decided to say yes. And I really considered myself a really shitty writer, but I felt like as an act of self-love, and because I really believe in the importance of self-love, I felt like I needed to write. And so I did. I channeled a chapter from my higher self and to write about my 2 cents on self-love. And it was literally my journey about writing and getting over myself to write.
Mm.
And um and it was not the best chapter, but it was my first chapter. Okay.
Yeah.
So we all had to start somewhere, but I really wanted to do it. What?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, and it was
I
called
felt
the
the same.
Dragon Puzzle.
Right. Right. And I think a lot of people start out that way, that they do a chapter and then it's like, that's not bad. Maybe I could do more. Right.
Yeah.
And like a lot of us, I mean, the dragons are behind me going, yes, you need to do more, or you need to write the, they're very, they can get bossy. And, sometimes they're like, write this down. Or other times they're like, no, you can't write this down. You just have to talk about it. So,
Yeah, and so I wrote about it, and I think I included a little bit about the dragons, and it wound up going to #1 bestseller, international bestseller in multiple countries, and doing really well. And so when
oh,
I saw her, yeah, it was good, and I met a lot of beautiful souls through
yeah.
that. And
So what was that book called?
my 2 cents on self-love.
My two cents on. Oh,
Yep. And now the book that's going to be released on December 19th is
what?
called My Addicted to Bliss. Addicted to Bliss, and that's being released on December 19th, which is coming up very soon. And I also have a journal that is published, and all the proceeds go to Hayden's Ray. And so that journal has mic art on front and back, um, and it's got Dragon Reiki in the art on it. So, and I plan to do more. And so Misty Lee helped me with that. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm I'm being primed to work with the dragons more, to do some illustrated books
Mm, cool.
and oracle cards.
Yes.
And yeah, so yeah, I'm very, very grateful to be getting over because my things about writing, because I had some different uh learning curves with writing where I have dyslexia, but like sentences, like where when I go to write, it's like everything's in like chaotic order. It's quite funny. Um, and then you got to like rearrange it. It's like, okay, just spill out and then rearrange it. So if you read the chapter, you might find it kind of funny. And but it was edited. It was edited, so it's not like the original, yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's true. So, and I know you're you're a great collaborator, and I know when we first met, we talked a lot about where we felt that we'd been connected, like Egypt, and every time we're like, oh my God. And then we were talking the other day about some other connections that we realized we had, one being Middle Earth or the Agarthians. So talk about, so we decided that we would, next year, we would jump in with 2 feet and offer monthly classes for the first 4 months, right? But I've got it here on the phone because I forget what I write. right, as well. So we're going to do, what's it say here? So this is what we're offering. Come and join Light Language Dina and East Coast Dragon Barbara for a series of fun-filled monthly classes starting Thursday evenings on January 11th will be our first class, and then monthly for 4 months. The classes will be a series of channeling, light language, and art, the energy of the violet flame, Saint Germain, dragons, galactics, and inner earth Agarthians, and whoever shows up during the channeling sessions. You will learn how to read art, how to paint your higher self, and become attuned to the gift of reading your own art by Dina. And we've decided we will do $44 a class, or if you buy all 4 classes, 158. So if you're interested in that, I mean, it'd be, but I think what was interesting was that we both felt that violet flame, right? We were both like, this is like there, it's there for me most days. I like it always comes in, and you're the same. And then we've got this connection with the Agarthians and Middle Earth. So,
Yeah.
and I've already, I did share on my Facebook page, but I've already been doing the violet flame with galactic codes. They've been telling me they're they're very chatty tonight. I don't very often get them, but they're like talking over here, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it's
What are they
usually
saying?
Merlin. It's usually Merlin that I have to like be quiet, but I think it's because we're talking about, and I know that you do this with other people because you're a great collaborator and bring different energies together. So I think it'd be interesting.
It's
Hour and
gonna
a
be
half.
interesting. I'm
Yes.
excited about it. The Agarthians, they they're like from another lifetime that I worked with them, and I got a message a while ago that they wanted to work with me in being there for other people. And I feel like a lot of inner child healing, a lot of playfulness and magic.
Yeah.
And because we're all really already magical, it's just a matter of bringing that back alive
Right.
and remembrance of who we are. And being able, and I feel like we all have the ability to reconnect with other aspects of ourselves. I have a hair in my mouth and I can't get it out.
Oh,
And
that's horrible when you're like, you can feel it there.
I finally
It's
got
almost as bad as having it in your eye, right? When you can
it.
feel, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
there for a while.
Yeah. I think for me, I mean, so the Agarthians are deemed to be galactic, even though and I think I shared with you that when I went on a guided meditation, particularly to inner earth, I mean, before the meditation started with the person that was doing it, my dragon swooped me up and dropped me down in there. And that was where the first time I met all of my dragons. I mean, I could fully see and they were coming talk about a dragon thunder. I could see them in the distance, and they were multiple colors, and they were like flying at like warp speed towards me. What was really interesting was that each one of them came up and allowed me to hold them in their face, in hands, and that was when I felt this the only way I can describe it was like unconditional love that went right straight into my heart. And they said, where have you been? This is where we hang out. Where have you been? We've been waiting for you, because all of my dragons are galactic. I mean, there's a few different, but mainly they're galactic. And they were like, this is where we hang out. So I'm not surprised we eventually connected on that. So
I know, I love that. I knew that we were going to do something together. It was just a matter of when, and we both connect with galactic dragons and galactic beings. And I
yeah,
love your painting that you just did. And that's the other thing is, I'm just really grateful to be of service. And if my energy can be beneficial in the process of activating what is ready to be woken up, rewoken up in someone else, then I'm just so delighted in the process and the unknown of it all,
mm,
you know,
yeah,
and the violet flame It's just so beautiful because the truth is that there are energies and old beliefs and programming that we can start to release and let go of, and to be able to make room for who we're really becoming and who we're meant to become, and letting go of versions of us that it's time to let go of. Anyway, it's it's a full life process. you know what do you think? Anyone? I'd love to hear if anyone has any
Well,
questions.
that's what I was just going to say. Like other people, if you,
We're so in sync, Barbara. Isn't that funny? And thank you. I'm excited about collaborating with you. Does anyone have any questions or comments or anything?
so you'll do. So I know that you're doing on the 21st, which is the new moon, right?
With Jay, yeah.
Oh,
Jay and
yes.
I, yep. Jay and I are offering a program. It's called Rewrite Your Blueprint. And Jay and I, we are working with the golden dragons, the golden dolphins, and the golden whales. And we'll be doing some activations with the assistance of the whales, the dolphins, and the dragons. Activations of the blueprint. You'll get directions on how to rewrite your blueprint, and also 2 codes. And during this session, our session, will be channeling activations and clearing and healing, all to magnify and activate your blueprint and assist with the attuning to the highest timeline. So it's going to be very much the energetic component to attuning you to the highest timeline, and for the assistance of the embodiment of that blueprint. Because it's one thing to write it, it's another thing to feel the energy and allow the energy to manifest. Jay, do you want to pop in on that? I'm coughing.
You covered it pretty well. We'll be activating their prosperity and manifestation codes that are locked in their DNA. And the whales and dragons will be clearing any money blocks that they have, and any other blocks that they have to creating the life of their dreams.
Very beautifully said. And I just received a beautiful healing with Jay from the whales, dolphins, and dragons. So I've actually had the pleasure of receiving her medicine, and definitely life changing. And I'm already working on my blueprint, and it's quite amazing how magical we are.
There we go. I figured out how to make my video work. I'm on my phone.
It's all good. Thank you. I'm so grateful you're here, all of you. And because all of a sudden I got choked up and I couldn't talk.
They're clearing your throat already.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love collaborating, and I only collaborate with in the highest intention of for the highest good of all. And I last year I used to collaborate with anybody, and now I have to be a lot more selective because I won't get anything done if I just collaborate all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's true because I think, often, and I think we have to listen to, because I did the same. I was going to do something with somebody else and I just couldn't pull it together. I knew what I wanted, but it just wasn't there. And in the end, I just had to say, it's not working. And the other person was like, yeah, I'm not feeling it either. So I was like, oh. But it was, I think you really have to listen to that. If you're getting that note that, no, don't try and do it, because then you know all the time that it's not real.
Exactly. And sometimes I actually wind up having a car accident
That's right. Yeah.
because I wasn't listening to the cues.
Mhm. Yeah.
I wasn't listening to the messages of slow down,
Right.
take some quiet time,
Yeah. And
be
so
alone with
there's
yourself.
right. So there's another thing that we have in common. This happened to me quite a few years ago. So I got divorced and I was not listening. I mean, at the time, dragons weren't in my life, but certainly angels and things. And I was not listening to the messages that I was getting. My body was tired. I had been running on empty for a long, long time. And I just kept pushing myself and pushing and pushing and pushing. And one day I couldn't get out of bed. I literally could not. And I remember lying there going, why can't I get out of bed? And the message was, you were not listening. So now we're going to put you there so you will listen. And that was about 4 months that they made me stop doing that. Literally, I was not listening to myself. And I've been able to help other women in the same, in my job that I do, in my other job, my full-time job. I often use that example that if you don't listen, somebody will make you, because people then they just burn out, right? So I have to sometimes I have to take my own advice, but I find that when you're doing a lot of energy work, there comes a time when you have to step back, otherwise you get sick, right? So you got sick, I've been sick. So
Oh yeah. I mean, and I got sick right after a situation having to do with me vocalizing how I really felt.
mhm.
And then I lost my voice.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, Dina, you need to, like, I literally got a message actually from another woman that I collaborate with, Linda. And she delivered a message to me, Dina, you need to get off the phone and not be on the phone so much so you can be quiet with yourself to receive messages.
Mhm.
What do you think happened? I didn't listen. And then I got laryngitis.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Like days later.
Yeah.
Days later. And then I couldn't speak. I couldn't speak. It was so bad. And then I literally had to just not talk,
Mhm.
which was really, really hard for me. And yet I'm so grateful because now I really appreciate my voice and I appreciate the honoring my energy, the honoring my time, the honoring of sacred space for myself that I don't have to give it all away. I don't have to give my energy all away. Actually, it's
Mhm.
important that I don't. And so sometimes I it's like, okay, all right, I get it. I'll honor my time and energy more. And then right back into the wind I went.
Right, of course. The minute you get your voice back, you're like, I know.
Yeah, no, I'm appreciated for everyone being here with my froggy voice. But I'm happy to and I feel that the voice, the channel message that wants to come through tonight is more like a clearing of the throat chakra. And I'd love to share that with everyone if you're all open um
Yeah.
and if you don't want it, you can just say no, like in your mind, that's fine, and listen to it another time. Um, it's only my intention to bring through uh the codes for the highest good of all
Mhm.
and not to, interfere with anyone's will or highest good. Is it a good time for me to do that now?
Yes.
Or
Yeah. See, I was just going to say that to you. I'm like, do you want to share some of your light language?
we're so connected,
Yeah.
Barbara. It's
So
like
I need throat, and I know that something's connected with the ceremony on the 21st. But I get this if you've ever watched any of my videos, and I'm like, I have to talk through it because I'm being I know that it's like almost like a suppression that like not to get because I need to say it. And I'm like, I'm not listening. I'm just going to keep talking. But I get this. And somebody suggested honey and lemon. I've had 2 cups tonight and I've still got it. So I definitely need that. So
Okay. All right, cool. I was feeling the heat of the dragon. So are you it's definitely feeling the heat of the dragons. So which dragon wants to come through? Okay, I have this her name is Tiki. She's a pink quartz dragon. And I also have the blue rose dragons. Kia ka tukura tishukura kia koto ro kia kata ishia kato rati kia koto rati chikotora ikatata tera ekatora kia kata kora shakatora kaya kora taya kora te. Hukarika roka ika roto torata roka kaka ika torata kaya hoya kaya kora tara tora tara kia. I'm going to invite you to all visualize a golden ball of energy above your heads. And this is a gift from the golden dragons. And it's a golden elixir of healing. And it's just going to drop down through your crown, into your third eye, into your throat, down to your heart, and work its way down your solar plexus, down to your sacral, down to your root, down to Mother Gaia, and back up through your root, up to your sacral, up to your solar plexus, then your heart, up to your throat, to your third eye, up to your crown, up to your soul star, and then around. Thank you.
that was cool.
Thank you.
I could definitely feel the energy from the golden dragon.
Yep, my pals.
That's cool.
Yeah. Did you feel it in your throat?
I did. I felt it like, yeah.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah,
It's a mixture of toning. That was a mixture of toning. And for the first time, dragon breath just came through.
oh, right. Yeah. Is that
Like I didn't get any like attunement for that. That just came through. That was really interesting.
that's interesting because that was the dragons taught me dragon breath to clear, so you can actually clear a path, that you can just do a series of deep breathing and then just blow it out. And it's like that, even though it's fire, it doesn't burn.
Exactly. How's everyone feeling? Oh, good. Good. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to connect with everyone.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot more people signed up, but there was a handful of people from England and a lot of people, like, because in England it's, after midnight, but they all want the recording. So,
Oh, good.
yeah.
Oh, good.
So,
Good.
yeah.
Well, I'm going to be sending an email out so I can send them also the link for the recording. And oh, good, thanks. Good.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I want to send in a separate email about the
Yeah.
class and
Yes.
that we're
Yeah.
doing and the class that I'm doing with Jay. I'm getting back in the habit of doing emails.
Yeah. That's
Sorry.
good. So,
Okay.
but once I get the recording, Tammy will fix it for me. Thank you, Tammy. And then I'll upload it to YouTube and I'll send out the link.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm technologically challenged, and even though Tammy has been very patient and tried to teach me, it doesn't work.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
I've heard a lot of great things about you, Tammy. Nice to see you. Well, at least to see your picture.
I know it's a busy time of year for her, so it's
Oh, I imagine. I imagine. Astrology, I heard. Astrology.
mhm,
Oh, thank
yeah.
you. Yeah, I'm learning about my astrology lately. It's been really interesting. And you know what else I do want to mention? Oh, thank you again for your donation. I'm giving one more week for the fundraiser for my friend Angie.
Mhm,
I'm raffling, there's like 10 items that are being raffled as a fundraiser. My dear friend Angie had lost her son unexpectedly the weekend after Thanksgiving. And so we're doing a fundraiser to assist her with raising funds to help pay for the funeral costs and the medical bills. And her son was only 15 years old and he died unexpectedly. And she's one of my closest friends. So uh, I'm doing with the assistance of many friends who have made offerings of their services. Uh, I'm in addition to like 2 paintings and a session that I'm offering, there's like 7 other offerings there that are being raffled off. And so I'm running that for one more week until this coming Wednesday, and then I want to announce the winners. So I just thought I'd mention that since, the more the merrier. And the raffle tickets are only $10 a raffle, and the items could be holiday gifts for those who win, holiday gifts for themselves or to give to others. So
yeah. Yeah.
just thought I'd put that out there.
I think it's always sad when you hear of people losing children. That's unexpected.
Yeah, very, very sad and very sad. And I just, she's been a really, really good friend to me and always made time for me in amongst caring for her son full time. And so so I just want to do what I can. And that's what, friends are a chosen family, right?
Yes. Yeah. That's very true.
Definitely.
Yeah. So if anybody doesn't have any questions, we can have some time back tonight before I stop the recording. Anybody got any last words that they want to say? No.
It's like,
So yeah. So well, thank you, Dina. It's always a pleasure to chat with you about what you're passionate about. But I'm going to hold you to doing something with your Reiki next year.
You're funny. Yeah, well, we can talk about that. The original plan was to combine it with art. And so, and it's not just for like artists. So I'd love to maybe do some kind of poll to see the interest of combining it with the Reiki with light language activations with the dragon.
I think, yeah, that would be awesome because, and I think, I know you've been advertising on Dragon Thunder. I think that has got such a wide audience now. I mean, it's international. Well, I think it's global. I mean, I said this about when I said I was an international, I did this thing. And then I'm like, wait a minute, it was global because we went as far as South Africa and Canada and England and Australia and all those countries in between and some African countries. I mean, that's what's so, I think, fabulous. It's like dragons are around the planet and people have been working. I mean, look at Kelly, who's going to be my co-host. I mean, she's been working with dragons for 30 years. And I'm like, 30 years, people would have gone, what?
I know, way before I ever knew about them. And it's funny because I did find this painting that I did like in college, and it's a claw. Do you want to see it?
Yes, before we end, yeah.
Okay. I didn't realize it was a dragon's claw until I found it again in my mom's house.
Oh my goodness, yes. Oh, wow.
And look, it's got the purple.
Yes, yeah. Wow.
Isn't that wild? I mean, it's not
Yeah.
necessarily like my best painting, but
Yeah.
yeah, I found it in my mom's house because I stored a lot of my stuff from college. So just for reference, everyone, I was graduated from college in 1994. So this was a really long time ago.
Mhm.
And but yeah, I realized when I found it in my mom's house, because every time I go down there, I like look at whatever art is still there.
All right.
And I found this one.
All right.
I was like, oh my gosh, it's
Did,
a dragon claw.
did you actually go to art college?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I went to
right.
Carnegie Mellon. I
Oh,
went to
right.
Carnegie Mellon and got a fine art degree, and I spent a year in Italy for my junior year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the paradigm is shifting, and with it, the energy. Isn't that a dragon up top? Are you talking about in behind me?
No, I think in your,
Oh, in here?
your claw painting.
Oh, the claw painting, yeah. Oh, I don't know. You know what? I didn't notice that, and I'm gonna have to go look at it again.
Mhm.
But it's wild, and I do feel like the dragons have always been with me. I just didn't know it. You know, I just
Yeah.
didn't. So, and I feel like that's what it is. Sometimes I feel like if you're drawn, sometimes people get drawn and they don't know why, and then all of a sudden they meet someone and it's just like clicks in.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And I think since Dragon Thunder, more people have connected
Oh yeah.
because everybody was like in different parts of the world but hadn't connected. And
It's amazing. I mean, I was gonna share something earlier, I'm just gonna tell you this, because I feel like I need to share this. When I first started to realize that I was channeling dragon light language, I was a little freaked out, and I was a little scared, and I was a little worried that people were gonna think I was nuts. And I was in the shower and I was asking, I'm like, am I really supposed to do this? Am I really supposed to be sharing the dragon light language and sharing about dragons? And I just started to break down crying in the shower. Have you ever had those like shower moments where you just start crying? And I was like, okay. And it was like getting like a big yes. And it was like a real emotional yes. And I got in the shower. And of course, I went right to my phone. And right on my phone was an invitation from this man named David inviting me to this Facebook group. And I was like, I think I'm channeling dragon light language. And he confirmed for me that I was. And then like all of a sudden I was part of this community. And it was like, as soon as, it's like I said yes,
Right.
and the dragon had my back.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I feel like is so important for me to share. It's like, when you say yes to who you're meant to be and what you're meant to be doing, and you say yes to the dragons that are calling you, that are here for you to be with and connect with, they are just so magical, and they're here for you. And it's like they're angels and dragons, and they're showing up in so many different ways. And the universe, it's like they're creating with you and your higher self to show you that you're supported on the path. And that's what's been literally happening for me since the beginning. When I say yes,
Right.
like, here's your support, Dina, just say yes. We got your back. And that's it.
Yeah. And I mean, I've told my story as well. When somebody told me that I was a channel, and I actually said, oh, I'm channeling, everything shifted for me as well. It was like, oh, now we can do, everything came in really fast. So, yeah.
It's just great. Well, I'm really grateful for all of you taking time out of your evening to be with us and to listen and receive. And if you have any follow-up questions for me, or you want to connect later, please do reach out to me via Facebook or Instagram. I'm Silly Dina on Instagram, or Dina's Good Fortune on Facebook. I have like probably 3 or 4 different Facebook pages because I'm a serial Facebook page creator. And yeah, and we'd love to connect. So yeah.
Well, thank you. And I will send out your information.
Oh yeah.
And if anybody, yeah. So I'll send it out with yeah. So yeah, if you send it to me, then I can send it out. All right. So I'm going to stop recording. We can carry on talking.